Savitribai Pune Phule University has MSc Computer Science course. That MSc Computer Science course has an elective called Cloud Computing in the first year. Cloud Computing is consisting of theory and lab or practicals. So this is the syllabus for the lab. Okay, so it gives the prerequisite objectives, course outcomes, right? At the end, it's also giving some sort of sample questions, right, or sample assignment. So it's saying working and implementation of infrastructure as a service. Okay, so today we'll be focusing on this software as a service. Okay, so let's say they ask you to do work, show working and implementation of software as a service, right? So what can you do? So the first thing that you can do is you sign into your Google account, right? So Google has these applications, right, which are basically all of them are software as a service. Okay, so we'll kind of practice a few of them. So the first one is this Docs, right, which is basically Microsoft Word as a document. Okay, so we'll do a sample document. So we'll open a blank document, and let's say we want to create a document on cloud computing. Okay, so I'll give a title of cloud computing to my document. Okay, so this is my cloud computing document. Okay, so I'll first give it a title. Okay, so I'll say title, right? So title would be cloud computing. Okay, now I created this title, right? Now maybe the next would be a section, right? So I'll say introduction. Okay, and I'll make this this was the title, so now I'll make this as a heading 1. Okay, so under introduction maybe I'll have definition, right? Okay, maybe advantages, right? So maybe before definition I'll have something called as vision, right? Vision, definition, advantages, and maybe challenges. Okay, now all this was a heading 1, so all these I'm going to make kind of subsections. So these will be heading 2. Okay, so then maybe the next section I want to have is architecture. Okay, so again this will be heading 1, right? And maybe in architecture I would list infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. Okay, and all of these I'm going to make these as heading 2. Okay, this is architecture, right? Maybe then I'll say types of clouds. Okay, and again this I'll make as heading 1, right? And in types of clouds I'll say public, private, right? Hybrid, community, right? And multi. Okay, so again I'll make these as heading 2. Okay, now I mean, depending on time you have for doing the assignment of the lab, right, you can actually fill these out, right? But for this particular video I'll just say that okay, what more I can do, right? So I can say insert, right? And I'll say table of content. So I'll choose this format, right? So boom, so it added my sort of table of content, introduction, architecture, types of clouds, right? So maybe in types of clouds, right? What I'll do is you can even maybe insert a drawing. Okay, so I'll say drawing, right? So I'll say new drawing, right? And the way you draw drawing is you basically select the shapes from here. So the shapes that you select could be anything from here, right? You can have arrows, right? So just as a sample, I will just draw something here, right? Then after you draw, you have to say save and close, okay? And that's how it gets saved, okay? So you can even explore a few things like maybe I want to give three different definitions, right? So I'll say insert, and then you can have uh, a table, okay? So a table would be like, maybe I want to have uh, three definitions, right? Uh, so I'll say in our table, right, it will have uh, a serial number, who gave this definition, uh, right, and then the definition, right? So say for example, I want to say the first definition is from Gartner, right? And what is the definition, right? So on and so forth, right? Maybe second definition uh, is from some other agency, right? So on and so forth, okay? Now once you have done this, right, you could say update, right? And then it will update the page numbers, okay? So once you are done with your sort of a document, right, you can even download it, right? So I'll say download, right? Now you can download it as a ODT, docx, RTF, PDF, right? Plain text also, right? So let me download it as a docx, right? Now once it is downloaded, now you can even edit it in your local Word if you have one, right? So I have Word, so I'll just try opening it up, right? Okay, so now this is my local Word, right? So you can even edit it here, and you can upload it back to your cloud, right? So sometimes they'll ask, like, how you do file sharing, right? So you can this way edit the file locally, upload it to the cloud, right? And edit it there, okay? So this one was the Word or the docs, right? In Google Docs, right? So let me go back and demonstrate a couple others, SaaS, right? Software as a service, right? So this was Word, right? Now let me try Excel, right? Sheet is basically Excel, right? Now again, what I'll do is I'll start with a blank spreadsheet, and so let's say maybe I want to do like a grocery invoice, okay? So what all things you can do in Excel or sheets, right? So let me give it a title, right? So I'll say so this is like, it has a item, right? uh, uh, Quantity, right? What is the price, right? And maybe I'll say total, right? So and let's say this is my heading, right? So I'll make it bold, right? So I'll say, okay, first is tur dal, right? So I bought it 1 kg, right? Maybe the price of 1 kg tur dal is 100 rupees, right? So in total, what you can do is you basically go here, right? And then here you can even put a formula, right? So the formula would say quantity, right, which is B2 into C2, right? Okay, and it made 100. So now if you change this quantity, right, to 3, right, it will automatically compute it, right? So and then you can say moog dal, right? So I'll say 2 kg, maybe the price of moog dal is 150, right? And again I'll give the formula, right? So now it understands, right? So it will by default give you this B3 into C3, right? So I'll accept that, right? And that's how it became 300, right? So now I want to do the total of all the line totals. So here, so let me close this, right? So you can also do a formula here, or you can also do a summation here, right? So I'll do a summation of, right, and then you have to give the values that you want to add, right? So I want to add D2 and D3, right? That's my sum of line totals, right? So that's how it became 600. Okay. So this is how you do Excel, right? Uh, let me try showing couple others, right? So let's go back, right? And from this, choose a third application, right? Which is again very popular, which is a slides, right? Which is a PowerPoint, right? So again, what I'll do here is I'll create a blank presentation, right? For the presentations, you could also use templates, right? Right, so you can use the themes, right? So let me just use this theme, right? So now it will change it, right? So now it looks fancy. And let's say I want to create a presentation on types of clouds, okay? And this is by me, so my name, right? So types of clouds, right? So then I right click and I say new slide, right? So I'll say listing, right? So what are the types of clouds, right? And then I want to list it as entries, right? So maybe I can even number it, right? Or I can just make a bullet list, right? So I'll say public, private, hybrid, right? Uh, Community, multi, okay? And then I can add a slide for each of them, right? So maybe I'll give it a title that these are details of public cloud, right? So again, you can basically write a text here, or you can insert an image, or you can draw a diagram, right? So in shapes, just like we did in Word, right? You could add the shapes, right? And do whatever you want to do, right? In your slides. And this is how you'll make a presentation, okay? So we practiced, and again, I'll give it a presentation name as types of clouds, okay? So this is my presentation. Okay, so we practiced docs, right? We did sheets, right? Excel, right? And we did types of clouds, right? So let's try one more SaaS, one more application, right? Which is popular, right? Which is you'll see from the list called forms, okay? And again, let's go back to the syllabus, right? So just like it said, working on implementation of software as a service, they also have this assignment number 5, which says create Google form for accepts details of student and create test page and generate result, okay? So let's try to do that, right? So I'll say that, okay, now it could either be a blank form, or since it said details of student, right? I'll say contact information, right? And once I do that, right, so it says contact information, right? So collect students contact information, okay? So we want a name, we want an email, you want an address, right? This star means it's a required field, right? These are optional fields. Phone comments are optional, okay? So we created this and we want to send it to whoever you want to collect information from, right? So so to, let's say I'll send it to myself, right? So I'm sending it to me, right? Now once you send this, right, the email will appear in my email box, right? I have opened my Google Mail in Outlook, right? So contact information, right? So I got it. So it will say fill out in Google Forms, right? So I got this, right? So then I will submit this, right? Samir Mahajan, right? Email is samir.s.mahajan@gmail.com, right? Address, right? I'll say I have saved address, right? So right, and I'll submit. Okay, so I got this, right? So now if I go back to my forms, right, I see the response, right? So this contact information that I just created, right, I got a response, right? So I got a response, right? And this is a response, right? So you can see summary, right? You can see the question, right? You can see the individual responses, right? So I had also created this survey form, right, where I was trying to collect responses of students for which elective you want to select, right? So I'd given an option of cloud computing, web services, right? So now if I go to responses, right, now you see this sort of bar chart, right? And you can change those settings as well. Okay, so we just practiced from the syllabus, the software as a service, right? And we saw the docs, right? We saw the sheets, which is Excel, right? Slides, which is PowerPoint, and the form. Okay, and then one specific question that we covered was this Google form that accepts details of student. Okay, good luck with your exam. If you like the video, click the like button, subscribe to my channel, and all the best.